guys? Welcome in. This is Block Party. I'm your host, Mike Wahle. Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying, please hit that subscribe button, rate and review us, share us with your friends. Sounds odd. We're going to be here on the Process to Perform channel and, of course, Andy Herman's Pack a Day podcast all week long. So thanks to those guys for putting us up. Packers Broncos, man, this is a defensive battle. I know it sounds weird. It always sounds weird to me when we talk about the Packers this year and they're a defensive-led football team because we're just so used to them being offensive-led. Of course, we like to talk about offense more, but these are two extremely good defenses. Let's start with what Denver really does well. They are number one in rushing yards per carry. They are number one in sack percentage. They are 18 points per game. They're good for fourth in the entire National Football League there. They give up 282 yards per game, good for third. And they give up under 90 yards rushing. These guys are stacked. Nick Bonito I think, has the fastest get off particularly at home in the National Football League. Zach Allen is one of the best pass rushing three techniques in the National Football League. Cooper's over there doing his thing on the other edge. They've got Dre Greenlaw in the middle. They've got Hufanga in the middle. And oh, by the way, they have Pat Surtain, the reigning defensive player of the year, who can lock up literally anybody. And he locked up Brock Bowers last weekend when they played the Las Vegas Raiders. Bowers has, first touchdown of the drive. I'll show you. And then they're like, all right, well, we'll just put the, defensive MVP and you will not, catch another football. So this team does a lot of things well. They like to match by down and distance more than personnel. So you can bring 13 personnel or 10 personnel in on first down. Like, you're going to see their base stuff because they want to go by down and distance. If it's first and 10, you're going to see base. When they get into their nickel stuff, look out because Vance Joseph knows how to dial up pressure packages. This is a team that brings it from everywhere. There are tons of opportunities to run the football against them when they're moving around. But as we'll show on tape, you got to identify it and you got to execute. Offensively, Bo Nix is playing well. Earlier in the year, I seem to remember a lot of people talking about, are they going to get over the hump because of the offense? They're averaging 24 points per game. They're averaging over 340 yards per game. They don't give up sacks. They've got a pretty decent offensive line. I think Garrett Bowles gets a lot of attention, but I'm telling you, this guy, 77, Quinn Meinertz, you're talking about right guards. This guy can play football, man. He moves humans off the spot. I mean, just from a strictly watching offensive line guys on appreciating body bend, profiles, feet, hands, the way he moves, aggressiveness, man, this guy is so much fun to watch. It's going to be a real test inside, I think, for our defensive tackles, particularly being with Devontae Wyatt still being out and being out for, I guess it looks like the foreseeable future. So that's something that we had to deal with the Bears game. I think they came up and played pretty well, but you did see those double teams being somewhat effective, for the Chicago Bears. It could be the same situation this week. With, in particular, 77, man, he can really get home. They have a good center at the same time. So I'm really excited about this matchup. I like the under center stuff that the Broncos do. I think the Packers are going to really have to show him one thing from a coverage standpoint at the snap and then change it up after the snap. You see when they do give up sacks in this game against the Oakland Raiders, the coverage shifts. Something's a little bit cloudy. He starts pump faking and sees the rush. Part of that was Max Crosby, fair enough, but we have Micah Parsons. So there's a lot of similarities in the way these games could play out. Certainly the difference being, the Green Bay Packers defense, I think, certainly rivals this Denver Broncos one. So let's watch some tape and we'll get back for a brief summary. Okay, when we start talking about the Denver Broncos defense, one of the better defenses in the league, I think I rattled off the stats earlier, but you got Zach Allen up front. You got Benito on the edge. You got Cooper on the other side. You got Hufanga in the back. And then you've got the reigning defensive player of the year and Pat Surtain too. So they can do a little bit of everything. What was interesting in this game, watching the Raiders, is that when things got kind of trouble after this first drive, they're like, screw it, we'll just put Pat Surtain on the tight end. He'll just block Brock Bowers for the rest of the game, and they can still get away with putting a corner. He's just that kind of talent. So that matchup will be interesting to see if he follows Christian Watson around, something like that. But these guys can run multiple fronts. They're comfortable. They like to manage their personnel by down and distance. So they'll, for first down, it doesn't matter if you're in 12, 11 personnel. They like their 52 or 34 look, getting up at the line of scrimmage, making things happen. They'll get into nickel on second and third and long. Love to bring pressure, have a lot of exotic pressure looks. And, there's not a lot of ways where you look good against this defense, at least in recent weeks. You can do things like this, just kind of running away from players. Whether you've got like a Yankee concept or just some sort of deep cross, but, max protection, two-man routes, leak outs late. These are This is a very, very good defensive front. They are excellent in sack percentage. Zach Allen's one of the better three techniques, I think, from a pass rush standpoint in the league. Malcolm Roach is playing well. I mean, all these guys are just playing well. I think that's, that's the issue that you're dealing with. You're playing up in Denver. It's loud. It's a great environment. This is a tough, tough defense to play against. I wanted to show this play because this is something the Packers can get better at. So I want to look at here. We're going to the backside. So they're going to run. Let's just watch these guys. Let's watch 70 in particular. And they're going to run a little stunt here. They're going to bring him down, stunt. They're going to bring him down and bring him off the edge. And we're going to watch 70 identify this, go for the backside, initial backside B, and then slam the door shut. And I think that's Benito, and rise to the second level. This could have been even a bigger play, but that's how you beat teams that slant. And this team does bring a lot of pressure off the edge. They'll bring pressure from everywhere, but particularly off the edge. And one thing that you can do to have success is you try to cut the defense. If he leaves, then stop the next guy and cut the defense. Give your running back a lane. There are big plays in the running game if you identify it and you execute correctly. Let's watch the Raiders do it here in real time. So they identified Hufanga's coming off the backside. They can't go to the other side here. Run into the right. Watch 70 again. And then snap back. That's all you got to do. Now, it could be even better than that. It could be even more effective, right? Don't bring your backside shoulder. Just slam him right here. And then rise to the second level. I mean, imagine if he just keeps this arm free, rises and blocks. Let him go over the top, bang, out. And you're, that is a touchdown. That is a touchdown. Those are the kind of plays that you need to exploit this defense if they're going to be moving around like this. Hufanga coming off of an injury, obviously had a great career so far in San Francisco. One of my favorite players at the safety position, but you want to keep him chasing. We got a 2nd and 5 look. And, this is formation. Got a, tight 2x2. Tight end hipped off. And they're just going to, I think this is always easy. Hey, just throw it to your best player. You get your fast 3 out here with Genty in the flat. They make mistakes or they leave guys open. And whether it's just we're going to get here late, obviously they're looking to, are they doubling Hufanga, or is Hufanga doubling the outside receiver there? Is he out, is he on 1 or 2? But he's just late to the party. I don't know if it's because they're running this corner and he's just eyeing it a little bit too long, but they just end up bringing Brock Bowers here on a little bit of a corner. I said corner, I meant post. Brock Bowers here on a little post route. Opens up. I don't think Bowers, when they get in the red zone for the rest of the game, sees anybody but Pat Surtain. No pressure. Straight rush. Did a good job of holding up at the offensive line position here for the Las Vegas Raiders. But if you've got a tight end that can run vertical, I mean, this is what Luke Musgrave can do pretty well. If you got a tight end that can run vertical like this, you got to feel good about, finding that seam. Obviously, if he bites too early here, got the over-the-top throw. So this is kind of in Jordan Love's bag right here. These kind of route combinations you feel good about. And they just motion over there in 12. 2nd and 5, again, I don't think they're going to go as much by personnel as by situation. So 2nd and 5, it's mixed down territory for them. They're going to stay in their base defense here. And they got a sack. And they can get him from all over. They can sim pressure. I mean, you're always kind of bringing sim pressure when you got 5 on the line, right? But what 4 are you going to bring? They do some unorthodox stuff here. They run 2 through the A-gap. They got 3 to a side here. Ends up getting through on the center. You see on the back end, you can pretty much just play with the 3/4 of the field because of Pat Surtain. Not really worried about deep help with him. But this is a problem on the pass rush. You've got, I think Nick Benito, if this is Benito, is the fastest get off in the league. Whether it's Roach, you got a bunch of guys inside that can rush the passer. And so if this guard steps flat, you're done, right? In these situations, you've got to kick back. You got to protect your inside here. And ultimately, this guy's got to get back flat as well. I think that guard sets a little bit flat here. And because of it, center gets beat early. Yep. Game over. And they saw this way too much in this game. A lot of success. How much success, Mike? A lot of. 3rd and 8, bunch formation. Third and 8, nowhere to go. And look what they're able to do here on the back end. So they run a little choice. They run the go. And then they run the out. And they want this guy to follow. They want the corner to follow here. They want the corner to follow the go. Safety. You got this little pocket. But they trust their safety to take the deep. He plays the out route. No one's home. Safety's so deep now, it's probably too late for Geno Smith anyways. He's not going to get enough here. I don't know, maybe he didn't feel good about the early slant on the other side. But pass rush gets home, as it usually does with this team. So on this, they bring pressure. They end up bailing here. They bring pressure here, and then they bring their safety as a free rusher or somebody for the running back to pick up. But I always appreciate bringing 5 guys if you can in rushes, especially with a quarterback like Geno Smith. It's going to be a little different with Aaron Love, but to think that you can't get 5 one-on-ones and not win one of them every rep is, I just think you're going to win those reps. We got a 3rd and 7, 2x2, tight end attached. You see they've got another Mike Mug up on the line of scrimmage. And they can hurt you in so many different ways here. We got 2 guys up, got to count, put them in the count. We got 1, 2, 3 to a side. Cooper's probably over there. And this is just, if you're not doing well anyways, this is kind of nightmare fuel for the Las Vegas Raiders. I showed this look. I think they're trying to run a screen here, but it just looks like a goddamn jailbreak. So when they bail, they bring all these guys. Bang, 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 bang. And they've got one guy who's got a here. Now they're going to match coverage on these 2 down here. These 2 and these 2. So whether we call it man, we call it match, whatever. They're going to end up taking those 2. They got one guy to block. So these are the opportunities. The problem is they're very, very well coached. Vance Joseph has done a great job with this team. And they just can't get that back out. He just runs into a defensive tackle this time. But you see the problem here. This linebacker is going the wrong direction. All we got to get is one block. And as Surtain gets out of here, you've got 1, 2 escorts. And if Big Boy just gets out of the way, you got Gentry. This is a great play call on a 3rd down. Just doesn't execute. But it's there. You can see that it's there. Oh, going a little fast. So we got a 4th down call here. Save the suspense. Nick Mito is fast. And, I just put this in because, no false steps. Benito has no pass rush move, or very, very few, or limited pass rush moves. He's just fast as shit off the ball. I mean, it looked like he wasn't even trying. What a terrible sack to give up. Tough sport. We'll go 1st and 10. Get yourself into 2x2. Be in that 12 personnel. Got 5 guys up. Bring in 5. Man coverage on the tight end. Bang, bang. Tight window throw. This is what you got to do against this team. They feel confident they're going to get home. Can you beat them off the line of scrimmage? It's funny, man. You watch. I don't really watch Pat Surtain all the time, but man, you watch him in this film, and he looks like he's playing a different sport. He doesn't even care. He's just physically, technically, cognitively just superior. These plays are open, those quick slants, little glance routes, fades, Got to put the ball on a dime. I don't know how many toss-up balls you can throw with Hufanga up there. He seems to cover a lot of ground. Okay, we motion down here. They try to chip out. Every once in a while. I said, these guys lost players a couple times. You see up here, they're just running. Just trying to figure out how to match this as they run down in the motion. This is always why motion is good. You got to switch responsibilities and rules here at the snap. You get a little jumbled up here. Then just run like an indie concept. Got the old hand up here on the top. Quarterbacks love that when you put your hand up, hand open. But look how gloved up. I mean, really, look how just tight everybody else is. I mean, they blew coverage here, no question about it. But, look how tight everybody else is. They do a really good job. We got 4th and 5. It's go time. Put their defensive player of the year on arguably the best, young tight end at least in the National Football League. New quarterback. Trying to get to him. No chance. Look how the safety plays this. They're trapping 1. 1 goes out, trap 2, or I should say trapping 3. 3 goes out, trap 2. We got 1st and 10, a little 2x2. Benito wins again. And I did a breakdown of him a couple weeks ago, guys, and he's just efficient. Not fancy, but just fast off the line, no false stepping, especially when they're at home. Looks like he's getting off a half count early. And you just got, I think it's realistic to say that, on a neutral playing surface, you feel good about your matchups there. I think playing in Denver is extremely difficult. A little 2x2, opened up a little bit here. Looked like they're running cover 2. End up running quarters on the bottom. Hit the slant. 21 gets a lot of action, as you can imagine, on this team. I'm sure we're going to try the same. Not the slant. What am I talking about? It really comes down to, can you get the ball in on time and on rhythm with this team? You just don't feel good about the pass rush if you're going to have to hold the football. I think one of the big considerations you think about when you watch this team, too, is like, are you going to throw it past your 10 or not? Is it worth it? What are you trying to prove? Okay, the Broncos offense. They're actually rated, and they have better numbers than I thought they did. I think early in the season, they were just talking about Bo Nix, not having that much, I guess, offensive success. Obviously, Sean Payton there being a master play caller. You always hear his, 27-word, 28-word play descriptions. But listen, what they do well is they don't give up sacks. He gets rid of the ball. I think I'm going to show you a sack first here to go against my preachings, but they run it pretty well. And they've got a couple really good offensive linemen. I'll tell you what, watching 77, the right guard, the way he just moves, the way he comes off the ball is really fun to watch. Great bend. But they give up the sack here. And listen, he throws the ball on time a lot. It looks like he misses the seam route here up top. Right? I don't know why he's not letting that ball rip. Max Crosby's on the other side. They could have something to do with it. But this seems like it would have been a quick throw. We'll look at it from the end zone. Yeah. Usually is with this team, Max Crosby. God, look at that. Look at that move. Little windshield wiper. 69 came over from the Niners a couple years ago. Got a pretty good deal. I've never thought he was a great player. I think that you take advantage of him of the two. I think Garrett Bowles is a more athletic guy, although this is not the best look. But this guy right here is really, really good. And it's a good offensive line overall. They do a good job running the football, protecting the quarterback, obviously. A little 2x2. And look, Bo Nix is, 2-3 years in the league now, a little back shoulder throw. Obviously have a number of weapons outside. You don't hear a lot about Denver. They're a very good football team. You just don't hear, you don't spend too much time talking about them. Maybe it's because it's been the Chiefs division for so long, and Harbaugh's got the big personality and whatnot. But, they're a good franchise, good club. Do a lot of things well. They roll out to the left here. Throw across your body. A little flood route. And the ball gets out of his hands. He's accurate. Is he as good as Jordan Love? Going back to our Andy Herman comments, absolutely not. But this guy can make throws. He got better during the season. Their offense has got more productive during the season. I think this is a matchup we should expect to win. But having said that, the defensive tackles, the guys that are injured, looking at their interior offensive line, particularly at the right guard position, he just moves humans off the spot. Here's an example of that. I mean, guy's a mauler, man. Look at this guy. They're going to double team, and we talk about staying square all the time, so I got to double team up to the linebacker. Just watch what happens when you stay square and just keep your feet driving. Obviously plays with good body angle. Moves that guy 4 yards off the line, turns his shoulders completely. Really, really good. A lot of under center stuff from this team. Look how easy they make it. Linebacker doesn't declare. They're always taught, not always, a lot of times linebackers, if it's muddy right here, you just hold your spot. It's clean, you go. Raiders got Jamal Adams playing linebacker now. It's crazy. But so be it. We got a 2nd and 5 here. A little 2x2. Tight end attached. They go motion over to bunch. Under center. Max Crosby. I just like putting Max Crosby highlights in when I can because he's awesome. And this is something maybe when you watch this, you go, okay, what are the limitations here? Now, I don't know that anybody gives their defensive end the freedom that Max has. He just seems to sniff this out. Maybe it's because they're the footwork or the stance of the offensive lineman. Maybe it's because the guy's looking inside. I don't know. But he sees this a lot, ends up beating the tight end on the backside here. They're even trying to wham block him. Doesn't matter. Not wham block him, like split flow it. Give yourself a 1st and 10, under center, fullback in the game, fullback alert, real fullback. Number 46. Come on, baby. Only a fullback and a long snapper can take the number 46. Watch how they block this, though. They basically go, from the looks of it, before you look at the backs, they block out. They block out. They're not like backside weak blocking. Everybody's trying to actually move the guy off the line of scrimmage. They just create a massive hole. Not a lot of explosive plays on this tape. I think their biggest play of the whole game was 19 yards, right? But a lot of consistent play in 10, 11, 12-yard range. Not a lot of negatives. I think they had a holding call, a couple offsides or false starts, but really when you start looking at negative plays, they're not putting themselves in a hole. 3rd and 1. Watch the surge here at the right guard position. Again, fullback. It's lovely. Look at this from the end zone. And this is, if you're trying to find hard yards and you got a guy that can do this consistently, it makes the game so it really does it just makes the game really easy, right? I was watching this thing on Larry Allen today, and this guy's not Larry Allen, but when you've got a guy who can make a train sound where they're going to run behind him and there's still nothing you can do about it, it's like, it's a real problem. Let's talk about Crosby sometimes, and I know we're watching the Broncos, but when you jump behind the backside of the tight end as these guys are trying to like C block you here, give this guy a free lane, make this block easy for a blocker who's not really that good. And this is kind of the downside of having those unique types, right? He just kind of jumps out of the gap responsibility, gives the fullback everything he wants. We got 1st and 10, under center again. I'm so glad it's back. Stacked front here for the Raiders. Under center play action. Another little sack. Coverage-wise, they don't really... I don't know if these, this is the Bo Nix thing a little bit is like, okay, he's going the wrong way if you're going to run just a little bit of a corner here. And even you're leaving here with the corner, it's like, I don't know. I don't know why you're not letting the ball go. They might have a different progression, but you can see the Raiders make a mistake on the backside here, and he doesn't, maybe by the time these routes are getting formed up, he just doesn't feel good. Mike McGlinchey gets beat again here by Max Crosby late. I think anytime you cross over here against like a good athlete, I think you can usually say that's probably gonna be an issue. Pretty good up front though, honestly. I think we're all kind of identifying where the opportunity is, and luckily that's where our best player is. So like you can see, I think there's going to be this is going to be a real defensive matchup. I'm not going to say there's no points going to be stored because I think we're going to score points. But, man, these are two fun defenses to watch. And when you just look at the stars on the field, you got your reigning defensive MVP. Certainly, although Myles Garrett's probably going to get it, certainly our man Micah Parsons is in that conversation this year as well. The things that he's doing to offensive tackles, offensive guards in the National Football League right now is absurd. But you got Cooper, and then you got Dre Greenlaw, right? You got Hufanga, you've got Xavier McKinney. Like there's just so many good football players on the defensive side of the ball for both of these football teams, man. It's like you just don't get enough action from the Denver Broncos from the national media. Maybe that's just not in my region. You're seeing it on TV a lot, but this was a fun team to watch. I'm excited about this game. I think the Packers have a real advantage in the ability to score points on offense, particularly in the last couple of weeks. You just feel like with the Packers now, if you don't score 28, it's just a really bad outing. I don't know if the Denver Broncos feel the same way. I feel like we have more weapons, certainly with guys coming back right now. Our offensive line playing better and better. Matchup inside Zach Allen versus our guards is going to be super interesting. So, listen, if we can pick up pressure, we can spot those opportunities to get gash holes in the running game for Josh Jacobs. Like, this is going to be a fun matchup. Guys, enjoy the weekend. I'm Mike Wahle. I'm here to entertain and educate. Please, if you're enjoying these breakdowns, hit that subscribe button. Give us a 5-star. Share us with your friends. Have a great weekend, everybody.